Hey guys, welcome to another special video. Now, I am not feeling well. Yes, I am not feeling the greatest. Today, I need to get a haircut. I don't know, maybe a month or a week. I've lost track. And now I need a new camera. A tripod, not a new camera. I need a new tripod, because it broke on me. I just fell and hit the bloody wall, and now the thing is broken that holds the phone. Anyway, besides my little troubles, I was reacting to Jaws acting like a bloody lunatic and swearing a bit too much. Well, there's a bit that I talked a little bit about something that I said in the video. Some took longer than usual. There was a video that took about 4 years because my stupid computer kept going, you can't do this. Now that is over, I can actually continue working on videos. The thing is, the way I'm talking throughout some of my videos is completely boredom, like, welcome to the video, tired. I'm video energetic today because I need some of that. I need some of that in my channel. I need to be, have a bubbling sense, and now I'm making this way too connected to the other videos that I've already planned. It was a video I was working on for 4 years. Well, that's got nothing to do with this video because this is something completely different. This is something I've been working on for 2 years, and where do I even begin? This video is going to do something with my childhood. We all grow up with playsets, toys, video games. We hang out with our friends online, play outside, water guns, whatever. Childhood, right? Nostalgia. But I'm here to talk about toys. We all have our little fair shares of what we had, what was so cool about this specific toy, playsets. But eventually, over the years, you can lose one thing, you can lose the other, you can missing parts. Like, I don't know, something from vintage to new. But everything becomes a collectible, a vintage, an antique. And that goes for crap loads of money. Well, value increases. All these photos here you see is everything that I used to have, but over the years, I was thinking of getting them again, but it's my budget, the money I have is for other films I'm working on and future videos. We'll get into that later on, yes. It just comes across, if I'm going to get something that I had many years ago, do I really need it? No, I don't really need it, so I don't have to like buy something that worth more than it did back in the day. Unless you really want this thing and have it on your shelf. There's just one particular thing that I wanted back in my life because, alright, before I get all over the place, which I am, I will just give you a brief history about this thing, right? So, this is going back all the way back to 2007, I think 2008, I'm not sure, but whatever. Better than 2020 or 2021. The golden days. I was a young kid. I saw an ad, and it was to do with a toy commercial. It was to do with the Matchbox space shuttle thing. At the time, I wasn't that interested when I was young at the toy commercial, but a couple of, I think weeks later, went to Big W. We went to the toy corner of where they all have their play sets, and back in the day where toys had more effort. More like they had more than just being less, because due to more stuff we can do with the internet, video games and such like that, because they're overly taking popular than toys nowadays, some degree. But anyway, off track. When I was at the toy aisle, I saw at the corner of my eye the exact same playset that I saw in the toy commercial. I looked at it in person, and oh my flipping goodness, I want this. And that became my Christmas present, and oh my goodness, this was the most amazing set I had back in the days. It had spring-loaded action, some little bit lights, construction, play, great stuff that mostly toys are now missing these days. This wasn't something that was based on any movie. This was something that was just original. This was a Matchbox thing, and it was just the most. Unfortunately, I lost all the pieces over time because, you know, I was young, never took good care of my stuff. Unfortunately, some of the stuff I used to have that worth a lot of money now, and I wish I can get it again, but I can't. But years later, in 2013, I decided, you know what, I'll get it again. So I looked on eBay and I found a set that was reasonable priced, got it. It wasn't in full box and everything, it was just in pieces and missing pieces. But it mostly had the UFO, the alien, the astronaut, some of the space shuttle bits. And turns out, I didn't even realize it until maybe months later until I had it. It also contained another playset that I completely forgot that existed. There's the big box that had mostly everything. The humongous playset, there's a tiny playset, which is called the rocket launcher. I can't remember I might look it up again, see what it's called, but it was a little set to do with a rocket, and that you pump in and it will shoot out the rocket. That was the only playset that really couldn't find in Big W or anywhere. This was the Matchbox box was the only thing that was there at the time, which is when I had it. So yeah, it was pretty cool to have two mixed different sets that I didn't know. Now, when I looked back on these two sets, apparently there was more, but they're the same thing. But for some reason they had both sets in one, they had weird combinations of combos with the sets, including what really confused the hell out of me was that there was some of the alien spaceships had different molded color plastic. Like you had, instead of the purple and green silver, you had like the orange and green and all this. It confused the hell out of me. Anyway, off track, but it was something to talk about. But so yeah, and 2013 when I got this set again, I lost it again. I lost it all again. Who figured? And now, because I decided to forget about it, try to forget about it, because it just became a curse, really. Just keep losing these things, never really couldn't even bother to take care of it. But the thing is, I couldn't stop dreaming about it, couldn't stop having nightmares about it. It was etching into my mind that I needed to get this thing. Full contact, in good condition. Do not interfere with it. Play with it a little bit, yes. Remember a bit, childhood memories and stuff like that. Nostalgia, yeah. Until 2020. And guess what? I've got it again. And throughout my videos, you can see it in the background there. Move this out of the way. Look, there it is. There it is. Now, you have been seeing it throughout my videos. Here's the thing. Just gotta take my hat off. Pull out a book from a friend of mine who traveled time and space and all that kind of stuff. Now, this book contains a little bit of info. Brief luck, I've been searching for a bloody month just to find this and found it. I finally found it on Amazon. That was still a pre-order thing. I bought it at 20th May 2020 for like $200, went the extra mile. And it arrived 9 June 2020. I did the video on it the same day, and then I finished the video and I was gonna release it in 29th August 2020. Here's the thing, I didn't. You know why I didn't? Because the computer, as I mentioned in the other video at the time, I had errors, trouble working on the video. Turned out my audio quality was awful. Me talking about it was so awful. Everything was a conundrum. And when I first did it, everything to me seemed a lot fine. But now I look back on it, it's all terrible. Like, the editing is perfectly fine. Just me talking, the audio is a bit off here and there. But hey, what you could do. Anyway, make the video now. Finally finished this video, upload it, for crying out loud. Me talking about the playset I grew up with. Second, trouble working with the review of the video to do with this thing. And third, it's here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for experiencing absolutely stupid and infuriating conversation I'm having right now with you guys. I hope you enjoy it. Let's get on with the review. Yes. Okay, let's get into the cardboard box that I arrived in. As you can see, it has orange duct tape with warning labels over it. There's a piece of paper that's hiding my address. Anyway. Now, just to give you an example on how flipping huge this box is, here's a 50-cent Australian coin for comparison. Yep, that is pretty big. In fact, it is impossible to do a normal review on this, so I'm going to have to improvise a lot here. Enough getting into the cardboard box, let's get into the actual box. What's interesting, when I took the box out, there's these plastic pieces that keeping the edges of the box in pristine condition and good shape for that, and very nice thing to do because I wanted to get this box in good condition. Have a look at the proper actual box. At the top left it says Matchbox on a mission, Mega Rig, and just warning labels of choking hazards and blah 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 and small parts, etc, etc. Down below, labels to do with the playset, real working parts, batteries required, easy to set up, and lights and sounds. Here's an angle to show you what the contents is inside, but there is clearly something that fell out of the package, but we'll get into that later on. On the top right, you have a warning sticker that's covering up a little label that's saying try me. Fantastic work of art depiction of the alien and the flying saucer with the galaxy in the background, and there's a label that says battle the alien. And why not, there's also a depiction of the playset itself. On the bottom left it says shuttle mission, and it says create 30 space vehicles, a label that's kid picks only at Toys R Us. Now here's the thing, I got this on Amazon. I didn't know this was a Toys R Us exclusive, and I just got this and it arrived way after Toys R Us closed, you know, which is interesting and sad in a way. Okay, let's look at the front. Matchbox on the mission, and there's all the other stuff you can see, and there's nothing interesting. On the other side, there's tons of great stuff. Didn't realize this was a re-release in 2013 by Mattel. All rights reserved. This was made in 2013, which I didn't know until I saw the box comparison. Barcode, etc, etc. There is some websites that I don't know if they still work. The same thing on the other side. On the back, there's a description of a little bit of the story. Shuttle mission. Build your own adventure. An alien sorcerer is attacking your planetary ground vehicle. You dodge the incoming missiles and quickly rebuild your vehicle into a rocket ship. Blast off! Now you're up in space with all the gear you need to battle the invading forces. Build this if you want to make this travesty here. Or build this, which is a more sensible looking thing. All the way at the bottom, colors and decorations may vary. This product emits flashing lights at 13 cycles per second. Matchbox on mission, yeah. And there's small parts and every single stuff you always see with other toys and such. And here are some more photos of other things you can do. And here, might as well show the entire contents, why not? Yes, that is the way. And here's the same thing again. Right, that's enough said about the actual box. Let's get into the playset slash toy slash collectible, whatever you want to call it. The Space Shuttle mission, Mega Rig, Matchbox, thingamajig. Let's have a look of the toy itself. Alright, let's start off with the astronaut, or a character that you can depict by yourself, or any character that you might like. You just use your imagination. Anyway, this figurine is small and it's really good for its size. Very excellent detail, very nice limited paint. It doesn't need a whole lot of paint. It's got the red tubes, it's got black lining, and the black dome, which is really great. It's really reflective. And at the back of the astronaut, there's a peg hole that has China written on it. Yeah, anyway, moving on to the articulation, there's only like 2 joints of articulation. I remember in the original playset with this astronaut, the articulation had 4 joints instead of 2 joints that are connected to each other. I remember you can move the legs separately, not together, and same thing with the arms. Anyway, not a big deal, just a little something to point out. Alright, moving on to the alien, the green Menace. Now, one of my favorite interesting alien character depictions, has all the aspects of what an alien should look like. Besides, it is bigger to the astronaut. It has these Mars-like warts, I don't know what you call them, while the hands are like these fish-like creature, and the head sculpt is style of a cone head at the top, while it has a reminiscence of different alien depictions over the years. The eyes are also the same glossy paint as the astronaut. Fortunately, there is a little mess up with the paint. I don't know if it's paint or is it just dirt or whatever, but it looks like he's got a mustache. So yeah, very nice figurines for the playset. Now, moving on to the flying saucer. Now, this thing is absolutely gorgeous, and this was the only thing I think I loved the entire playset when I was a kid. The detail is fantastic for what it is. You got the separations of very colorful. It's got greens, got purples, you got a bit of silver on each side. The details like the grills, the interiors, there's obviously pipes and, you know, clearly buttons and, you know, stuff. We'll get into that later on. And let's have a look at the back. A lot more detail, in fact, with more piping, visible screw holes. So you got extra connect pieces. You got a tag that is for the sound effects. We'll get into that later on as well. Very nice thing for what it is. Each side of the spaceship there, left and right, has writing of China. The battery compartment where you need to, you know, get into. The 2 missiles, and the grill that is disguised as speaker. Open the flap, you can see all the impressive little details. You know, you don't have a control panel or anything. It's just
it's all there. You don't need a whole lot really, and it's very reminiscent, very cool, and reminds me of a lot of just short humans. Anyway, turning to features, you gotta grab the alien. See, he's got these suction cups, I guess, on the legs. Squeeze them together, the power of suction. You make him sit like that, and then you place them together, connect pieces to place his legs in, to make him look like he is sitting down, like he's in the control pit, and you just go, yeah, that's basically how you do it. He looks very comfortable in that. He looks like he's controlling the ship by his power of his mind or the control panel. You can see the button, and that's to activate the sound effect. But what's really interesting, even though the tag is to prevent the sound, it still makes a sound. But guess what? What's really clever? In the box, display posters, because it's clearly visible for you to press the button. But when you press the button, the two sound effects are in one. That's only for to give you an example of the sound effects. But when you take the tag out, and you press the button, it's completely different, a lot longer. How cool is that? And it's to give the illusion of it's flying. So you got the sound effect of it hovering, and you also got the sound effect of it landing, or out of fuel, or whatever the case is. But if you press it again, and you press it the second time, while it's making the noise, the hovering noise, it makes the shooting sound effect. And the shooting sound effect is you're supposed to tie in with the other two buttons that shoot out the missile. Really, really cool for what it is. And it's kind of hard to see, but there's also flashing lights to segments of each side of the UFO. They don't pick up that easily. I think it's because of the batteries, or LED lights, or whatever the case is. Now this alien has an accessory. This is the thing. Yes, this is some tentacle pack thing. I don't know what you call it, but it's very menacing. You can make them go like this. What you're meant to do is, you could see this as a jack pack or whatever, but you're meant to suction cup, so you can stick it to the astronaut's face, or you can stick them on the back. I think that'll be a lot easier. And it gives you the impression that the alien is kidnapping, or abducting, or absorbing, or whatever the case is with the astronaut. Makes it look like the astronaut's in a lot of trouble. You can take the thing off, and etc. So yeah. And here's another option for the tentacle pieces, to put it on the UFO. Don't know why, but I thought of doing this just to make it a lot more. Looks very interesting. Like the UFO has something organic, that's pulsating through, to make it look like it's living. I just don't know why I did that. Anyway, what I'm meant to do with this thing is that if you place it from wherever you like to place it from, could be at the bottom, could be at the front. What you're meant to do is that it's supposed to fly away with the astronaut in space at the back. That's what it's meant to do, but I'm not going to do it here because, I don't think it would work, and it will break and fall, so I don't want to... Okay, now the alien has its own vehicle, but the astronaut has something even bigger. Let me show you guys. This is the Mega Rig Shuttle. But first we'll put it together. We'll start off with the wheels. Now these wheels are really detailed. They have screw holes to keep it together with attachment pieces. And the whole thing itself has a lot of detail, and the tires are orange, rubbery, with white insert tires. You get 4 in this set, and you can do whatever the hell you want with these. You can connect them to each other like a centipede. You can put it on just like that. You can make anything, as it was mentioned displayed. Alright, let's get into the main headpiece. First off, there's a lot of good detail. You get 2 seats. Even though you got 1 astronaut in the set, the other set you get another astronaut, and there's another set where you get 2 sets in one, which is anyway, the panels are great. There's not a lot of paint, but they're enough detail for what it is. And you can put 2 astronauts if you like. There's a lot of space, and you can close it. On the sides has a great amount of detail, and on the back, and interior detail that you wouldn't see when you completed the entire thing. And of course there's a space bug. I'll get into that later on about the bugs. Anyway, there's detail everywhere with bolts and screws. Moving on to the main body piece. Now I don't know where to start with this. We'll just start off the corner at the left side of it, or the right side, depending on where you're holding it. So there's a lot of excellent detail on the sides with air vents and panels, and on the other side there's also more panels and such. Just a lot of great work. And there's like a MBX with code. I don't know if that's a number of the piece or something else that I'm not getting. And we move on to the little yellow piece with the purple connector things as well. This has a lot of good detail with piping, connector pieces and such. And on the other side is the same thing. Forgot to mention the yellow and red stripe warning label things on the sides of each. And turning on the back, on the other side, it's hollowed, but they went out to a great level of putting detail on the other side you wouldn't really necessarily see. You got like rocks, more rocks, and a little bit more of a paneling on the other side as well. You got screw holes, you got extra stuff, and you got some numbers and letters. I think they're also coding codes of each piece when they're making this. You got a big long letters and numbers on the other side. You got what's interesting on the other side, as I turn this around, it is Matchbox, but it clearly says 2008 Mattel. So I got a theory here. This is clearly a re-release in 2013, but all the molds, all the figurines are the original molds in 2008, so they didn't change anything but re-release it. It might have changed a few things in here, but I don't know, don't remember that much. I don't have the original to compare this with. Anyway, it's interesting. More codes, and on the other side you got a centipede. Now, I think this is a reference to the other set that Matchbox made, which is Matchbox, a Mummy Pyramid Temple of Gold playset. I used to have that set, and I'm pretty sure it had these bugs in it. It could be a coincidence or a reference, which is pretty cool nonetheless. Anyway, it's enough for detail. Let's assemble it. We got all intact. Got the wheels and everything. You can roll it side to side. You can. Now, this is a bit empty, so turning to accessories, the first one you place here is this satellite dish, which is really cool, and you can see it's very small. Grid in the interior section, the things keeping it together, and the panel dish with a bit on top in the middle, antenna piece. And you place it here. You can place it anywhere you like. I'm just following the instructions. And the other accessory is this rod piece. Now, I don't know what you call it, but it's got a lot of good detail, fabric, and obviously screw joints and stuff like that. And you turn on the other side, it's a bit hollow, and it has a lot of good articulation. You can move it around like. Now, the piece that goes with the rod is this also satellite dish. Now, this is a more proper satellite dish, and you can flip up the satellite panels. And yeah, now the thing is, at first, when the panels are diagonal, I thought they were a bit not connected into the piece properly. So because they're meant to look like that, and not because it's meant to look broken, but to give it more dynamic. And as you can see, grid panels and such, and then you place it like this, and you can put it here. As I said before, you can put these pieces anywhere you like, but I'm just going for the what was like in the box. You can also use this. Yes, brightly orange claw. Now, this is really cool. It has a lot of good detail. It has piping, and you can imagination for whatever you like. Anyway, the claw, your two fingers, and you just collide them like tongs. And it's simply to assemble it onto the rod piece, just like that. You can also use this for picking up rock samples, picking up barrels, boxes, assembling pieces of the spaceship, using it to battle against the alien force, whatever. Just use your... That's what I love about these toys. You can use your imagination for whatever you like. Anyway, now the extra piece that comes here is this missile. Now you assemble it like this very easily, and you place it in that. You can move this around diagonal, and you can move it upwards and downs. But the problem is the articulation is a bit weak on this, like that. You can't move it. You can move it all around, but it doesn't stay in places. It just goes right back down. Sometimes it doesn't, sometimes it does. If you carefully squeeze the two end bits of the stand of the missile, you can see it's holding in place, and while you're moving it, it stays in position, because it has this grid on each section of the stand. Now, my guess is that the plastic of the stand for the missile is a bit weak. So weak, in fact, that it kind of might bend a bit, and that's why I'm not going diagonal really in places. So that's my guess. Anyway, you can see that the fins are bright white, except for one part of the fin, which is a bright red with the contrast of all the bits of the red. Now, that's because this is the button. You just simply press it, and it will just shoot out. Not a big distance, but it's good for what it is. So that's all the accessories. Now let's move on to the rocket itself.
Rest of the order and footage was lost, and I spent days looking for it. Turns out to be corrupted. So I had to redo the rest of the entire audio right now, and re-edit the clips in order of how I planned the toy review.
Oh, I hate it! I just want to be 50% done! I just want to be 50% done! Oh! Fuck!
So that's all the accessories. Now let's move on to the rocket itself. There's a lot of detail. Everything back at the front and the center. If you open up, you can see all the insides, control panels and such. One seat, unfortunately, no door. But anyway, and here's the other piece for it. Again, with all the great detail as usual. That's our favorite word of the day, detail. Unfortunately, the stickers, all of the white paint has been taken away. I couldn't find any flake bits inside the box anyway, just the sticker themselves has been rubbed off. I don't know if it was done intentionally for this set, but the original set that I used to have didn't have that issue. This up, as you can see on the far left, there is these labels and controls and stuff like that. Little levers. There's some labels of the astronaut, but we'll get into that later on. Thrusters, as you can see, a lot of good detail as usual. And we put it together, just like that. assemble like the other rocket. What's interesting at the back, there's screw holes, but there's wheels and connector pieces, holes and stuff like that. MBX on each side. Now, this is something interesting. I don't recall having this with the original toy that has these metal pieces, and it wasn't a rubber thin. It was made out of plastic. Now we're going to the control panels. As you can see, one seat again, no door or anything. I think that could be the door, I'm not too sure. But now if we open to the middle part of the section, you can see there's a lot of space here, and you can put the rod piece to put the claw in, or the satellite dish. It's entirely up to you. Now we'll open the left door section of the fin, and if we have a look, there's danger, labels and everything. There's a lot of space, piping and stuff like that. And something interesting, there's like a little chair, interesting sticker on the panel, an X-ray or a DNA scan for what the alien looks like, especially the biology and language frequencies. I have no idea, but it's very interesting, a little bit of insight of the story, if you like. Move on to the right panel, and there's more dangers, signs, and piping, but there's also a interesting workspace bench thingy-majig with tools like hammers, and there's like this interesting code that, like with the other one, a radar system. It can help, but it looks like it may have to do with UFOs. I have no idea, or it could be the layer out in the moon, I'm not too sure. Again, with the same thing with the chair, you can put the figurine, this is what it looks like. Here's some wheels, up close, very little. And if you put them together, doesn't matter what order you like, but it helps you to roll them. You put them in between the joint systems here. You could put them like this, which is more accurate of how this specific spaceship used to be like. Now remember I mentioned before about the labels, right? This is what you're supposed to do. You put the astronaut on the back of this rod, and you move it with control panels, which is quite a little bit accurate of how astronauts used to be in space, with so they don't get lost. Connect them together just like this. It's a bit hard to get them together, but as soon as you get them together, it's perfectly fine. But it ain't that. Do the same thing here. Now time to put it all together. Now here's a quick through from the instructions of everything. Set complete, plus an extra set that I mentioned before, the rocket shuttle mission launch thingy, I can't remember what it was called, but plus that, and equals this monstrosity of a set, or you can have it like that, it doesn't matter how you want it. And here's a bunch of words and extra stuff. Now I mentioned that I had the other set before. This is the only remaining piece I have at the moment, the alien. A bit filthy here and there, but it's a clearly different figure to the other alien. The left one that I have has joints, the other one doesn't. The one on the right is clearly a discolored, not because of how dirty it is, but it's a slight lighter dull green compared to the other lighter green on the far left. It's a little bit bigger, and it's mostly just suction cups, and you get a little bit more detail for it not having articulation. Apparently this one is the leader, and it has a different type of connector system at the back. Okay, that is all of the set that I can cover. A lot of stuff that I covered today, and yeah.
Anyway, hope you liked the review, hope you liked the video, and throughout my frustration trying to work this video with the most difficult issues that I had with it, especially audio, oh my goodness, it was a complete. This is the only redeeming thing I could possibly do. I have a Facebook page. I never mentioned it until this right now. You can check it out. There's a lot of content there that I've talked about. There's a lot of stuff that isn't featured on this video. There's some artwork here and there in the past, stuff, etc, etc. Anyway, I hope you liked this video, and remember, I'll see you in the
Good evening, KG Master, also known as Kyle G. Now don't be alarmed, this is not a threat, but this is something that you and your little mind wouldn't be able to apprehend. We are a sovereign organization of intelligence. There are sides to our organization, there's sides to another. My boss, he couldn't come due to unfortunate business to attend to, so he decided to, we gave you intel, what you need to know, and what you need to do in the near far future. It is important. Good day.
Interesting. I already mentioned my Facebook page, this entire video. I hope you like this video. Remember, I'll see you in the future. Bye.